Obviously, Lexi's been tremendous, especially on the defensive end. She just brings a spark and a tenacity about her that, maybe we weren't always getting on the defensive end, and she's just willing to do whatever it takes for this team.
It all started with whispers, quiet conversations between scouts and executives during a long road stretch in July. Lexie Hull's name began floating around the league. She wasn't hurt, she wasn't benched for bad behavior, she was just available. At least, that's what other teams believed. Indiana was reportedly looking for more perimeter scoring. Hull, while solid defensively, had struggled with consistency from deep. So when a Western Conference team, believed by some insiders to be Phoenix or Dallas, came calling, the Fever listened. It was described as a simple depth-for-depth trade. Nothing major, just business. But then, without warning, it stopped. Phones went silent. No callbacks, no follow-ups, no press leaks. The whole thing was buried overnight. To most fans, it didn't seem like much. But to those inside the organization, it raised one huge question. Who killed the deal? And that's when fingers started pointing toward Caitlin Clark's management team. Let's rewind to what started it all. By mid-season, the Fever were in survival mode, juggling injuries, experimenting with lineups, and trying to build around Clark's playmaking. Lexi Hull had been a reliable presence, but her stats weren't jumping off the page. Coach Stephanie White was reportedly testing younger guards, cutting into Hull's minutes. And in professional basketball, when minutes drop, rumors rise. An assistant from another team allegedly said, "Hull's the kind of player every contender wants. Solid, smart, and drama-free." But the Fever seemed ready to move on. Trade talks quietly began. One proposed scenario included draft compensation. Another involved a veteran wing. Everything seemed routine. Until it wasn't, because something, or someone, changed the equation. Within a day, communication between Indiana and potential trade partners froze, and insiders later claimed the order came from above the team level. Translation: Caitlin Clark's people didn't like it. To understand how this could even happen, you've got to know how massive Caitlin Clark's operation really is. She's not just an athlete, she's a brand ecosystem. She's represented by XL Sports Management, backed by Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, and Hy-Vee.
Something in your game day routine, or do you feel like you're just in a groove right now?
She's in a groove. She started hanging out with me more.
It's rubbing off on me.
Some are good, some are bad.
Her brand partnerships collectively generate more value than the entire roster payroll of some WNBA teams. She has PR teams monitoring social media narratives, consultants tracking engagement analytics, sponsorship advisors coordinating her image down to the smallest detail, from press quotes to Instagram captions. So when someone inside that circle heard Lexi Hull might be leaving, they saw it as more than a basketball trade. They saw a PR risk. Hull isn't just a teammate. She's one of the few players who shares Clark's public image, clean, humble, and relatable. They often appear together in community clips and team promos. They even have fan edits online labeled Indiana's Golden Duo.
Well, okay, first rating, I think, there's always room to improve, but I was impressed, so I'd give it a 9. But we were just hanging out, and she was like, I did this the other day, randomly, and then she turn on the game. I was like, okay, turn on the game, and she just started going at it, so it was funny.
For Clark's marketing network, that kind of organic chemistry is gold. You don't trade that away for a bench shooter. So according to reports, her management voiced their concern, politely but firmly. And just like that, the trade stopped cold. It was loyalty in motion, but also power, wielded quietly and efficiently. Now here's where the real tension started to brew. Steve Simon, the Fever owner, had signed off on exploring roster adjustments. He's a businessman first, and Clark's success meant everything to his bottom line. On the other hand, head coach Stephanie White was reportedly frustrated. She wanted the freedom to shape rotations without politics. To her, this was just a small move to improve balance, not a betrayal. But both quickly realized they were stuck in a new dynamic. As one league insider put it, when you have a player who boosts revenue by 50%, suddenly basketball logic takes a back seat.
Can I get the spring fling with vanilla cream instead of coconut cream? Can I have the beach babe too, please?
Simon wasn't about to risk anything that might make Clark uncomfortable. White wasn't thrilled, but her hands were tied. Behind closed doors, staff described a noticeable chill after the rumor broke. Trust between the coaching staff and upper management started to fade, and that's when you could really feel it. The Fever had officially shifted from team first to brand first. Inside the locker room, reactions were mixed and emotional. For players close to Clark, it was seen as a powerful show of loyalty. She stood up for her friend. She used her influence to protect someone she cared about. That meant something. But for others, it wasn't so easy to swallow. One veteran allegedly told a local reporter off record, "Look, I respect Caitlin. She's a star. But if certain people are untouchable, that changes everything about how a team operates."
It's helped our defense improve a lot. So I think offensively and defensively, we've taken a step forward. And, that's kind of what the coaches challenged us in going into that break too.
Another quietly added, "I love Lexi, but we can't pretend there's no double standard now." Nobody said anything publicly. Nobody wanted to spark a headline war, but the tension was there. And the irony? Clark herself probably meant it as an act of friendship, but it was interpreted as a flex of power. Her intention might have been pure, but perception? That's where the cracks started forming. Still, even her critics admitted, Caitlin had changed the WNBA's entire energy. Nobody, not even veterans, had seen a rookie command this kind of authority. Now let's talk about Lexie Hull, the quiet center of the storm. Through all the noise, she said nothing. No cryptic Instagram stories, no likes on shady posts, no comments hinting at tension. She just worked. Extra reps, early gym sessions, constant energy. And then something interesting happened. Her minutes started to climb again. Her defensive impact grew. Clark began highlighting her in interviews, calling her underrated and essential. Fans took notice.
How impressive of a job did Stephanie do as coach with all the moving parts throughout the season?
I mean, incredible. Simply incredible. Be so easy to give up and say, we're just gonna take this year, we're gonna be a building year.
Keep Lexi hashtags started trending on Fever fan pages. Local broadcasters even ran features about her chemistry with Clark. It was subtle PR magic, the kind of narrative shift that doesn't happen by accident. And whether it was genuine gratitude or strategic image control, the result was the same. Hull went from trade bait to indispensable teammate. By the next month, even analysts were admitting it. The Fever play harder when Lexi's on the floor. Coincidence? Maybe, but fans knew. Something behind the scenes had clearly changed. When word of the alleged trade interference reached league offices, it got attention. The WNBA's growth is fueled by parity, the idea that every team competes on equal footing. But what happens when a player's influence exceeds the league's internal structure? A league executive reportedly said privately, "It's not a bad problem to have, but it's a new one. Because if Clark's team could block a move once, what stops them from influencing coaching decisions, media policies, or future signings?" Some insiders even speculated that this might spark a long-term change, a sort of player empowerment era, just like the NBA saw when stars started shaping franchises from the inside. The difference? It's happening faster here. Clark's fame is expanding at a rate the WNBA's infrastructure was never built to handle. Every appearance sells out arenas. Every product with her name on it goes viral. So when she or her team speaks, even quietly, people listen. And that's both powerful and dangerous. The aftermath of this situation changed Indiana more than most fans realize. Behind the scenes, executives started walking more carefully. Every roster discussion now came with an unspoken question. How will this play with Caitlin's team? No one says it out loud, but everyone feels it. Marketing departments double-check public releases. Social media teams coordinate captions with Clark's PR advisors. Even sponsor announcements reportedly go through an approval rhythm to ensure brand alignment. It's subtle, but total. And the result? Some call it efficiency, others call it intimidation. Because when one player, no matter how talented, becomes the brand itself, it's almost impossible for anyone around her to separate business from basketball. Even Steve Simon's tone in interviews shifted. Before, he'd talk about building a competitive team. Now, it's protecting the culture and direction Caitlin's creating. That's the level of sway she has, and it's not fading anytime soon. So what was this really about? Was it loyalty or leverage? Maybe both. Because the truth is, Caitlin Clark has always been fiercely loyal. From Iowa to Indiana, she's carried her circle with her. Teammates, friends, coaches, supporters. She values chemistry. She values trust. So on the surface, this looks like a friend protecting another friend. But when that friendship overlaps with multi-million-dollar brand influence, loyalty becomes leverage. Lexie Hull might not realize it, But her value skyrocketed the moment Clark's circle stepped in, and the Fever learned a lesson they won't forget. If a move doesn't fit the Caitlin Clark narrative, it won't happen. That's not arrogance. That's power, earned power, bought by popularity, performance, and profit. It's the kind of influence that can elevate a franchise, or fracture it if mishandled. The WNBA is changing fast. For decades, teams controlled players. Now the biggest stars are starting to flip the script. Caitlin Clark's situation with Lexie Hull may go down as the first clear example of that shift. A superstar dictating not just how her team plays, but who stays and who goes. And the crazy part? It's not happening through public demands or dramatic quotes. It's happening quietly, through calls, meetings, and brand negotiations behind the scenes. That's the modern game. Soft power. And whether fans love or hate it, Caitlin Clark is mastering it faster than anyone before her. The Fever front office knows it, her teammates know it, and now the entire league knows it too. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Lexie Hull staying put. It's about what her staying represents: loyalty, influence, control. Three things that rarely coexist peacefully in professional sports. Some say Caitlin did what any good teammate would: protect her friend. Others believe her camp flexed its power to shape a roster in her favor. But both sides agree on one truth: nothing happens inside Indiana's organization anymore without Caitlin Clark's inner circle knowing first. And that, right there, is the mark of a generational star. Was this move fair? Maybe not. Was it strategic? Absolutely. And it might be the reason the Fever's locker room looks very different next season, on and off the court. Because when one player holds the keys to the franchise, everyone else has to knock before entering. Drop a 100 if you think Caitlin's loyalty saved her teammate, or comment "power move" if you believe this was all part of a much bigger plan. Either way, the message is clear. In Indiana, loyalty isn't just a virtue, it's leverage. And Caitlin Clark just proved she knows exactly how to use it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because trust me, this saga between Caitlin the Fever and her growing empire, it's far from over.